In June 2021, Lending Club did a survey on 28,000 Americans, and they found that 54% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And 70% of millennials turning ages 25 to 40 this year are still living paycheck to paycheck. The oldest millennials graduated into the worst job market between 2007 and 2009 during the financial crisis. They also had to deal with the second recession in 2020 when the whole country shut down for nearly a year. They struggled to find jobs, and that significantly delayed their journey to grow their wealth. They struggled to pay their student loans, credit cards, and other personal loans. While they struggled to pay off their loans, they couldn't set aside enough cash to put a deposit on their house. What's more shocking is that millennials making over $100,000 in income are still living paycheck to paycheck. This is not a promotional video. I am not selling you anything. I want to tell you my side of the story. I'm going to show you my budget spreadsheet from 2014 when I was still living paycheck to paycheck. And if you're one of those people living paycheck to paycheck, I hope you get some value out of this video. I'm a millennial. I could have probably blamed everything on the economy and the government for my late start on the journey to grow my wealth. Not everyone is dealing with the same situation as I did back in 2014, but in my case, I had a spending problem, not an income problem. I got myself into a huge consumer debt and I didn't know how to get out of it. I was broke. Like 40% of Americans, I thought carrying credit card balances every month was a normal thing to do. I didn't know what interest rates my credit cards charged me. I didn't know how the credit score system could affect me. I bought things that I needed and wanted without budgeting for them. I maxed out my credit cards one by one. I thought if I made minimum payments every month, I was being good. I was broke. Like 44% of Americans, I used to buy a brand new vehicle between $20,000 to $25,000 at 5% interest rate with a loan period of 72 months. My average car payment was between $350 to $500 a month. I used to buy cars based on the amount of monthly car payment and not the amount of my loan. I didn't care about the interest rate because I had no idea what it meant. I didn't want to buy used cars because I didn't want people to judge me. Buying a brand new car means I could impress others on social media. My car payment was at least 10% of my take-home income every month. My car depreciated from $25,000 to $15,000 within the first 2 years. By year 3, my car was worth anywhere between $10,000 to $12,000. I knew this because I traded in for a new car every 3 years. I was broke. Like 55% of Americans, I didn't have a budget system. I just knew that I was making $2,200 every paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. I knew I had to pay my bills, but the rest of the money just went to my spending, like at Starbucks, restaurants, electronics, and things that I couldn't afford. I was broke. Like 65% of Americans, I didn't know how much money I spent last month. I didn't care for my retirement. Why bother? I was in my 20s and I'm not gonna turn 60 for a long time. My mentality was, I'll probably keep working until I collect my pension and Social Security when I turn 67. I had a major wake-up call at the end of 2013. I thought my job with the federal government would always be safe. I was wrong. They had just announced a force-shaping program that planned to cut almost 20,000 personnel in less than 2 years due to congressional budget cuts. I happened to be on the chopping block, so I panicked. I didn't know what I would do to pay my credit cards and loans without my steady income on the 1st and the 15th. Luckily, I never lost my job, but that was the same time I discovered that I had a major spending problem. I had about $300 in my savings account that paid about 0.01% in interest, and I didn't have an emergency fund in case I lose my job. On top of my spending problem, I had just gone through a divorce, so I had to take out a personal loan to cover for my attorney fee just to get through the divorce, and on top of that, I had the debt carried over from my previous marriage. So at the end of 2013, I decided to face my problem by creating a budget, and well, it was not pretty at all. According to my budget spreadsheet that I had to dig up from 2014, I would have had negative $3,000 in cash flow because I had so much in debt and I didn't have enough money to pay off those loans or credit card debts. I was angry, bitter, and embarrassed. I didn't tell anyone about my financial problems because first, I didn't want to get in trouble with my employer. So I turned to Google search and YouTube for help. Now let's take a look at my 2014 budget spreadsheet, and I'm gonna show you everything that I had spent and everything that I couldn't save and how much money I was losing every month. Just like any ordinary Americans, I had these recurring bills every month. For the first of every month, I had my apartment, trash, sewer, water, Netflix, internet, Geico, childcare, groceries, and gas. For the 15th of every month, I had my cell phone, electricity, DirecTV, gym membership, gas, haircut, groceries, and gas for my car. So that's roughly about $2,500 a month in expenses. That's not bad, right? But here's what was killing me. I have 5 credit cards, 2 car loans, 1 personal loan, and the TSP loan. I remember looking at this spreadsheet and I couldn't sleep at night. And I was sick to my stomach because I didn't realize how much financial trouble I got myself into. I had about $109,000 in consumer debt and I was making minimum payments on all of them. Take a look at my discretionary transactions down here. It gets even uglier. I was eating at restaurants and that was about $10 to $15 each. I went to Babies R Us, probably for my 1-year-old daughter at the time. I don't know what the heck I was doing at the Death Valley or Planet Hollywood. Fresh and Easy had these pre-packaged meals before they went bankrupt. I guess I really like Subway, Popeyes, and Mexican food. And I spent $238 from the 1st until the 15th. And then I spent $330 from 15th until the end of that month. That's on top of the groceries that I had already spent. That's $568 in discretionary spending for that whole month. Now take a look at what I did with my budget the very next month. I got rid of Netflix, DirecTV, and my gym membership. I negotiated my car insurance from $85 to $70 a month, and my cell phone from $105 to $70. I reduced my grocery budget from $300 to $200 a month. I started carpooling with my coworkers to work, and that saved me a lot of money on gas. I traded in my Honda Civic and got a lease for $200 a month for 2 years. I probably should have just got rid of it and bought a piece of junk car. I sold my other car with about $4,500 loss in depreciation. I took out an additional personal loan for that, so the new balance of my personal loan was about $13,000. I also paid off my Capital One MasterCard, which had the lowest balance with the profit I made from the first house that I sold. By the end of February, I went from $109,000 to $63,000 in total debt. I also had extra money left over for that month, so I applied additional payments to the credit card with the lowest balance. So with just $51,000 in total income, I spent the next 2 years paying off my debt. I put every single penny into my credit cards and personal loans. By January 2016, I was debt-free. I remember going out to sushi that night all by myself, and I just quietly celebrated with myself, and I still didn't tell any of my friends or family about it because I still felt ashamed. By the end of 2016, I got to save about 6 months of my emergency fund into a high-yield savings account. At that time, it was paying about 2.5% in interest, and that was around the same time I started to take investing more seriously. I started reading about FIRE, also known as Financial Independence Retire Early. I read about the Trinity study and other people who have achieved financial independence and retire at the age of 30, 40, or 50. There was a whole new FIRE community and I was excited to be a part of it. By the end of 2016, with my additional job, my income had already doubled from 2014. I swore to myself that I would never carry credit card balances ever again or take out any more personal loans to cover my expenses. I also made sure that I maximized my contributions to my Roth 401k and my Roth IRA. So by 2017, I got to invest $24,000 between my 401k and IRA. I managed to save between 50 to 60% of my income. And in 2018, I got to take my daughter and my mom to the Bahamas on the Disney cruise. I paid cash for the cruise and it was one of the best times in my life because I went on that vacation completely debt-free. It felt like a huge reward to me for working so hard to get out of debt for a long time. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not alone. When you walk into a room full of people, chances are 1 out of 2 people are also living paycheck to paycheck, just like you. You have to change your spending habits. We can all day blame it on our economy, blame it on our government. Nobody is really going to bail us out but us. We have to take the action to do it. My excuse for being broke was because I didn't know how to budget properly, and I didn't know where my money was going every single month. I stopped blaming everyone else and start taking responsibility for my own actions. I ate so much ramen noodles for the 2 years I had to tackle my debt, but I did it. I paid off my debt, and I'm still living in the same house that I purchased back in 2014. Now I've been focusing on growing my wealth to achieve financial independence and to make sure that I educate my daughter on my financial mistakes. If you're in the same situation as I was, don't give up. But you have to stop making minimum payments on your credit cards, personal loans, and your student loans, thinking that it's just a way of life, because it's not. Take back control of your finances, and you need to start today. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you got some value out of it. I will post a new fire video every Sunday, sometimes on Saturday at 9 a.m. Have a good one.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more fire videos.